Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Steve Harvey. Let me talk to you real plain tonight. When a man truly can't live without a woman, it's not just about attraction, it's not just about desire, and it's definitely not just about what happens when the lights go off. It's about what he feels when he's right there beside you, when he's vulnerable, when his guard is down, and when his heart is wide open. See, a man can enjoy physical closeness with a lot of women, but there's only one woman who makes him feel at home in that space. And when he feels that, trust me, he's not going anywhere. When a man starts opening up in those quiet moments, when he talks, laughs, and even gets comfortable being silent with you, that's a sign. That's when he's emotionally exposed. Men don't do that easily. If he's relaxed, present, and fully tuned into you, not distracted, not rushing, not distant, that's because you give him peace. And peace, ladies, is addictive to a man. He can fight the world all day. But when he comes to you and feels understood, accepted, and wanted, that's when he realizes he needs you in his life. If a man becomes affectionate in ways that go beyond desire, if he holds you close, checks in with you, and makes sure you feel safe and valued, that's not accidental. That's intention. That's him saying, without words, you matter to me. Men don't invest that kind of care unless they're emotionally connected. And once a man connects emotionally, that's when he starts imagining a future with you, whether he says it out loud or not. A lot of people think attraction is what keeps a man connected, but attraction alone has never been enough to make a man stay. Attraction gets his attention, yes, but emotional connection is what gets his loyalty. A man can be physically drawn to many women, but he only becomes deeply attached to the woman who reaches him on an emotional level. That's where the real bond forms. When a man feels emotionally understood, emotionally respected, and emotionally safe, something shifts inside him. He stops looking at you as just someone he desires and starts seeing you as someone he needs in his life. Emotional connection means he feels seen for who he really is, not just for what he provides or how strong he appears to the world. Men spend most of their lives wearing armor. They are expected to be tough, silent, and in control. When he's with a woman who allows him to take that armor off, even for a moment, that feeling becomes priceless. If he can talk freely, laugh freely, and even admit his fears without feeling judged, that connection goes deeper than anything physical ever could. Physical moments may satisfy the body, but emotional moments satisfy the soul. When a man feels emotionally connected, he becomes present. He's not distracted, not distant, not rushing through moments. He listens more closely, responds more thoughtfully, and becomes more intentional with his actions. That's because emotional connection activates care. And once care is activated, attachment follows naturally. A man doesn't protect what he doesn't value emotionally, but when he feels emotionally bonded, he becomes protective, consistent, and invested without being asked. Another powerful part of emotional connection is trust. When a man trusts you emotionally, he lets you influence him. Your words start to matter more. Your feelings start to affect his decisions. He doesn't dismiss you or minimize your emotions because your emotional state is connected to his peace. And peace is everything to a man. A man will walk away from chaos, but he will cling to peace. Emotional connection creates that peace because it gives him a place where he doesn't have to perform or prove anything. This is why emotional connection outlasts attraction. Attraction can fade with time, stress, and routine, but emotional connection grows stronger through shared experiences, honest conversations, and mutual understanding. When a man remembers how you made him feel during vulnerable moments, that memory sticks. Long after the excitement settles, those emotional impressions remain. That's when he realizes he doesn't just want you around, he needs you around. Emotional connection also makes intimacy meaningful. When there is an emotional bond, closeness becomes more than physical closeness. It becomes reassurance, comfort, and affirmation. A man who feels emotionally connected doesn't feel empty afterward. He feels grounded. He feels fulfilled. And fulfillment is what makes him emotionally dependent in a healthy way. He starts associating you with comfort, safety, and belonging. What many women don't realize is that emotional connection gives a woman influence without control. She doesn't have to demand commitment because emotional attachment naturally leads a man toward it. When he feels emotionally connected, the idea of losing you feels heavy. The thought of life without that emotional support feels uncomfortable. That's when he begins to prioritize you, protect the relationship, and make decisions with you in mind. In the end, physical attraction may open the door, but emotional connection builds the home. And once a man feels at home with you emotionally, walking away becomes the hardest thing he could ever imagine. A man stays where he feels peace, because peace is the one thing he is constantly searching for in life. Every day he steps into a world full of pressure, expectations, competition, and responsibility. He is measured by what he earns, what he achieves, and how strong he appears. By the time he comes home or gets close to a woman, he is tired of fighting. So when a woman becomes a place of peace for him, she becomes irreplaceable. That peace is not silence, and it is not submission. It is emotional calm. It is the absence of stress, drama, and constant tension. When a man feels peace with a woman, he feels accepted. He doesn't feel like he has to defend himself, explain himself, or constantly prove his worth. He can just be. That feeling is rare for men. And because it is rare, it is powerful. A man will endure many struggles in life, but he will not stay in a place that drains him emotionally. If being with you makes him feel lighter instead of heavier, calmer instead of anxious, that feeling pulls him back again and again. Peace also comes from emotional safety. When a man knows he can speak without his words being thrown back at him later, when he knows his vulnerabilities won't be used against him, he relaxes. Emotional safety allows him to open up naturally. He begins to share thoughts he doesn't share with anyone else. And once he opens that door, emotional attachment grows quickly. A man bonds deeply with a woman who makes him feel emotionally safe because she holds a part of him that he doesn't give away easily. Acceptance plays a huge role in peace. This doesn't mean ignoring bad behavior or lowering standards. It means accepting his humanity. When a man feels that his mistakes don't automatically make him a failure in your eyes, he feels encouraged instead of criticized. Encouragement builds peace. Constant criticism destroys it. A man can handle correction from the world, but from the woman he loves, he wants understanding first. When he feels understood, he feels calm. Peace also shows up in how conflicts are handled. Every relationship has disagreements, but a peaceful woman doesn't turn every issue into a battle. She communicates instead of attacking. She expresses feelings instead of assigning blame. This approach lowers a man's defenses. When he knows disagreements won't turn into emotional warfare, he doesn't fear closeness. Instead of pulling away, he leans in. That willingness to stay present during conflict strengthens emotional bonds. A man who finds peace with a woman starts associating her presence with relief. Just her voice, her touch, or her presence can calm him. That's when he realizes he needs her energy in his life. He doesn't just want to see her when things are good. He wants her around when life is hard. Peace turns a relationship into a refuge, and a refuge is something a man protects fiercely. This is why peace keeps a man from wandering. When a man has peace, he has no reason to search elsewhere. Temporary excitement cannot compete with lasting calm. Drama might feel intense, but peace feels secure. And security is what makes a man commit. He stays where he feels accepted, supported, and emotionally at ease. When a woman provides peace, she doesn't have to beg for consistency. She doesn't have to chase effort. Peace makes a man willing. He shows up because he wants to, not because he's forced to. And once a man experiences real peace with a woman, losing it feels like losing his balance. That's when staying becomes a choice he makes every day without hesitation. Vulnerability is one of the clearest signs that a man is deeply attached, because men are not naturally taught to be vulnerable. From a young age, most men are conditioned to hide, fear, suppress emotion, and handle pain alone. They are praised for strength, not softness. So when a man chooses to open up emotionally, it is not accidental, it is intentional. It means he trusts you with parts of himself that he protects from the rest of the world. And trust like that does not come without attachment. When a man becomes vulnerable with a woman, he is allowing himself to be seen without his armor. He may talk about his past mistakes, his disappointments, his fears of failure, or the pressure he feels to succeed. These are not casual conversations. These are moments where he risks being judged, misunderstood, or rejected. If he takes that risk with you, it's because he feels emotionally safe and deeply connected. A man does not expose his weak spots to someone he doesn't care about. Vulnerability also shows up in how comfortable he is expressing emotions beyond happiness or desire. If he admits when he's stressed, overwhelmed, insecure, or uncertain, that's a powerful indicator of emotional bonding. Men usually process these emotions internally. When he shares them with you, he is inviting you into his inner world. That invitation is a privilege. It means he values your presence and your opinion in his life more than he values protecting his ego. Another sign of vulnerability is when a man allows you to see him during low moments, not just when he's confident or successful. If he doesn't disappear when life gets hard, if he doesn't hide when things aren't going his way, that's attachment. A man who is emotionally invested doesn't want distance during difficulty. He wants connection. He wants comfort. He wants reassurance from the woman he trusts. That desire to be emotionally held is a clear sign that he can't imagine facing life without you. Vulnerability also creates emotional dependency in a healthy way. Once a man opens up to you, he begins to associate relief with your presence. Talking to you calms him. Being understood by you grounds him. Over time, he starts needing that emotional release. Not in a weak way, but in a human way. He feels lighter after sharing with you. And when someone becomes the place where he can unload emotional weight, that person becomes essential. What makes vulnerability even more powerful is that it strengthens emotional attachment through acceptance. When a man opens up and feels accepted instead of judged, that experience stays with him. It rewires how he feels about you. He remembers that you saw his flaws and didn't walk away. That kind of acceptance creates loyalty. A man bonds deeply with the woman who knows his imperfections and still chooses him. Vulnerability also changes how a man behaves in the relationship. He becomes more honest, more communicative, and more invested. He stops playing games because emotional exposure makes games pointless. Once he's vulnerable, he has something real to lose. And when a man feels that loss would hurt deeply, his attachment becomes stronger. He becomes more careful with the relationship, more protective of the bond, and more intentional about staying connected. Many women mistake vulnerability for weakness, but in truth, vulnerability is emotional courage. It takes strength for a man to say, "This is who I really am." If he does that with you, it means you matter. It means he trusts you with his truth. And once a man gives you that level of access to his inner world, walking away becomes emotionally difficult, because leaving you would mean losing the one place where he felt truly understood. When a man shows affection and care beyond desire, it reveals his true intention. Desire can be momentary, driven by impulse or attraction, but care requires consistency, attention, and effort. A man can desire someone without thinking deeply about their well-being, but he cannot genuinely care without being emotionally invested. When affection shows up in small, thoughtful ways, it's a sign that his feelings go far beyond physical interest and move into emotional attachment. Affection that comes from intention is gentle, reassuring, and protective. It's not rushed or selfish. It shows up in how he touches you, how he checks on you, and how he responds to your emotional needs. When a man holds you close without needing anything in return, when he makes sure you are comfortable, or when he simply wants to be near you, that's emotional affection. These moments may seem quiet, but they are powerful. They show that he values connection, not just closeness. Care also appears in how he listens. A man who is emotionally attached pays attention to what matters to you. He remembers details you didn't think were important. He notices changes in your mood and asks questions instead of ignoring them. Listening takes patience, and patience is a form of love. When a man listens with the intention to understand, not just to respond, it shows he's emotionally present. That presence is a clear indicator of attachment. Another sign of care is consideration. When a man thinks about how his actions affect you, it means you occupy space in his mind even when you're not around. He adjusts his behavior, his tone, and sometimes even his plans because your feelings matter to him. Desire focuses on what he wants in the moment. Care focuses on how you feel in the long term. That shift from self-centered thinking to shared awareness is where emotional commitment begins. Affection beyond desire also includes reassurance. A man who cares wants you to feel secure. He checks in emotionally. He offers comfort when you're stressed and support when you're struggling. He doesn't minimize your feelings or tell you to get over it. Instead, he acknowledges your emotions because they matter to him. That reassurance builds trust and deepens the emotional bond between you. Care becomes especially clear during difficult moments. Anyone can be affectionate when things are easy, but true care shows up during conflict, stress, or exhaustion. If he stays calm, patient, and respectful even when emotions are high, that's intention. If he tries to resolve issues instead of avoiding them, that's investment. A man who is attached doesn't want distance. He wants understanding and repair. Over time, affection rooted in care creates emotional security. You begin to feel safe being yourself, expressing your needs, and sharing your emotions. And when a man creates that emotional safety, he becomes emotionally tied to the relationship as well. He starts associating you with warmth, comfort, and emotional fulfillment. Those feelings are not easily replaced. This kind of affection changes how a man views the relationship. It's no longer casual or temporary in his mind. It becomes meaningful. He begins to see you as someone he wants to protect, support, and keep in his life. And once affection moves from desire to care, his attachment deepens naturally. He doesn't need to be convinced to stay. His emotions do that for him. Attention to a woman as comfort and happiness is one of the clearest signs that a man is truly committed and emotionally invested. Many men may enjoy being around a woman for physical attraction or the excitement of a relationship, but it takes something deeper for a man to genuinely prioritize her comfort and well-being. When a man consistently considers how his words, actions, and presence affect you, he demonstrates care that goes beyond desire. He's no longer thinking only about himself. He's actively thinking about how to make your life easier, happier, and more secure. This attention shows itself in small but meaningful ways. He notices when you are tired or stressed and adjusts his behavior accordingly. He asks how your day went and listens. Really listens instead of waiting for his turn to speak. He remembers the little details you mentioned, whether it's a favorite snack, a concern at work, or something that makes you laugh. Those small acts of attention are far more powerful than grand gestures because they reveal that he tuned into your emotional and physical needs. It shows he values your experience and wants you to feel cared for and understood. A man who prioritizes your comfort does wait to be asked. He anticipates what you need and acts on it, whether it is making time for you when he is busy, giving you space when you need it, or simply holding your hand to reassure you. These gestures indicate a man who is attentive and invested. He doesn't see your happiness as secondary to his own. He sees it as a shared responsibility in the relationship. That kind of consideration demonstrates emotional maturity and a deepening attachment. This attention also manifests in how he communicates. He checks in to ensure you feel valued and heard. He expresses empathy. When you are struggling and celebrates your successes genuinely, he does dismiss your feelings or make you question whether your emotions matter. A man who pays attention to your emotional state is a man who is building a foundation of trust and security. Trust grows quickly when you know that someone notices your needs and consistently acts in ways that protect your well-being. Another aspect of attention to comfort is consistency. It's one thing for a man to be kind and attentive occasionally, but it's entirely different when this becomes a regular part of his behavior. Consistency signals reliability. It shows that his actions are not motivated by fleeting feelings or temporary desire, but by a genuine investment in your happiness. A man who consistently prioritizes your comfort becomes someone you can count on emotionally, and that stability fosters attachment and deep emotional connection. Attention also includes physical comfort in a thoughtful way. He respects your boundaries, understands what makes you feel safe, and ensures that his presence is reassuring rather than overwhelming. He notices if you're cold, tired, or uncomfortable and takes steps to ease that discomfort. This may seem small, but these actions communicate care and mindfulness. They show that your well-being is important to him in every aspect of your life. Over time, this kind of attentiveness transforms the relationship. When a man consistently prioritizes your comfort and happiness, it sends a powerful message. He sees a future with you, values your presence, and is willing to invest effort into maintaining a strong bond. Emotional attachment deepens naturally when a man becomes so attuned to your needs that your happiness becomes intertwined with his own. It's no longer just about being together, it's about making each other's lives better. Actions in private reveal a man's real feelings because they show who he is when no one is watching. Many people perform in public to impress others, to maintain a certain image, or to meet expectations. But private moments strip away pretense. When a man is with you alone, his true nature, intentions, and attachment come through. How he behaves when it's just the two of you is often far more telling than what he says in public or how he presents himself on social media. Private actions are the purest reflection of his heart. In private, a man who is deeply attached shows consistency between his words and actions. He doesn't just say he cares. He demonstrates it through gestures, attention, and emotional availability. Whether it's taking the time to listen to your concerns, supporting you when you're stressed, or simply being present without distraction, these small but meaningful behaviors indicate genuine investment. Actions in private are often free of audience or expectation, making them the clearest signals of his true feelings. A man's emotional engagement in private is another major indicator. He becomes attentive, not because he wants to impress anyone, but because he genuinely wants you to feel valued. He notices your mood, your comfort, and your needs without prompting. He remembers details you've shared, anticipates what might make you happy or ease your worries, and acts on it naturally. This attention demonstrates that he cares deeply, not superficially, and that your well-being matters to him on a personal, emotional level. Physical intimacy in private also carries meaning beyond desire. When he is gentle, considerate, and focused on your comfort rather than just his own satisfaction, it reveals emotional connection. How he treats you in vulnerable moments, whether through touch, closeness, or simple affection, reflects the depth of his attachment. Men may perform or act differently in public settings, but in private, their true intentions and feelings are clear. Emotional presence is expressed through these private actions more honestly than through words alone. Consistency in private is key. A man who is attached doesn't fluctuate wildly between caring and distant behavior when no one is around. He is reliable in how he treats you, listens to you, and responds to your emotions. This reliability builds trust and demonstrates a sincere commitment to the relationship. Private consistency shows that his connection with you is not performative or temporary, but rooted in genuine attachment and respect. Small gestures in private often speak louder than grand displays in public. Preparing something thoughtful for you, checking in when you're stressed, holding space for your emotions, or simply being emotionally available without prompting are all subtle signs of attachment. These are acts that reveal intention and investment, showing that he values your presence and wants to nurture the bond between you. When a man engages in these behaviors without expecting recognition, it reflects authenticity and deep connection. Over time, observing a man's private actions gives a true measure of his feelings. Words can be empty, promises can be made casually, but actions in private are harder to fake. They reveal patience, empathy, consistency, and genuine care. A man who consistently acts with love, respect, and consideration when it's just the two of you shows that his attachment is real. His private behavior becomes a mirror reflecting his heart. And it is in these moments that you truly understand the depth of his connection and whether he can't imagine life without you.